it's spinning.
Yeah, I'm there too. If I can hear you, so.
Hey,
All right, guys.
here we are.
How are you?
Good.
Awesome.
I'm excited about this. I really am. Everybody, this is Ed and Kathleen Martin of LKN Images. They're out of Charlotte, I want to say, but what is the town again?
Because you can't remember Mooresville.
Yeah, Mooresville. Yeah, so they're next to Lake Norman, which is a beautiful area of North Carolina. So, but there's a lot of stuff to go over today. I mean, the amount of slides, the amount of information is all good stuff. So I'm really excited about this. I think that this project that they've done is you'll see the stats. They're amazing. However, I think that it can translate into future business and how we can maybe roll this into another aspect or division of our company. Wouldn't you say, Ed and Kathleen?
Absolutely.
Possible,
Yeah, I think that we've learned a lot and blazed some trails here. So as you and I talked about, Jay, with Lisa as well, there's got to be ways to use this going forward once we come out of this nightmare. So
yeah, absolutely.
Some good nuggets in here.
Yeah.
So let's not get started quite yet because we want to give everybody a few minutes. We'll give it 3 or 4 minutes here before we kind of start going into the slides. And I'm good at asking questions and being nosy, but so today's news. So what are you guys, how's everything going up there? What's it look like in your area of the country as far as opening up? And do you feel like the fall is going to be normal, or what are your thoughts?
No, I don't think it's going to be normal. I'm really worried we're not going to get football and all that stuff going on. The schools, they're not committing to anything. All of our summer leagues have canceled. I don't know. I don't want to be a naysayer, negative and all that stuff, but it doesn't feel like it's going to start up correctly because football, if we were going to start it for our high school, their training all starts June 23rd. And, our phased approach.
Just started 3 days ago. We're in phase 1, and that's supposed to last 2 weeks.
And then 4 to 6 for phase 2, which I don't know. It'll be interesting if they can pull it out.
Yeah, gosh, I hope so.
So I'm just going to make senior banners for the football team that doesn't happen, just like we did for the lacrosse team that didn't happen. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of my customers, I've been doing open studio, and had some success, and happy about that. Everybody is, glad you're out shooting, glad you're out working. Hope you're making up for the income. I'm just like, there is no way I can make up the income that I lost. I'm not on little open studio shoots. I mean, I'm doing the most efficient thing possible to earn a living in this business, and nothing will make up losing March through May. Yeah, I mean, nothing makes up for it. But so I can't even fathom not having a normal fall. It would be pretty devastating. But in Georgia, we're the first state to open. And I think that we've skipped from, phase 1 to phase all in pretty quick. Like it just doesn't feel, everybody's in their own bubble, in my county, in my area of Georgia, I feel like everybody is kind of like, okay, we're done with this. Gyms are opening. I think they're opening today. So that'll be interesting.
20% capacity.
Yeah,
something like that. A lot of cleaning issues, stuff. But like salons and such, they don't open until
another
2 weeks. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then
that's why the hair looks like
that's why it looks so good.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I guess there's no way to do it. I mean, no matter what you do, you're going to seem like an idiot because you open one, one industry and you don't open the other, and it just doesn't make any sense. And everybody can have arguments of why they should be essential. So I guess who knows? I'm just done with it. I just want to be over with it. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, fall is going to be normal.
From Long Island made a comment about summer sports and camp activity, also a concern. Our camps are all shut. Our neighborhood camps. I don't know about some of the more AAU type things, the really high end pay to play. But a lot of our camps are shut. And so who knows?
Although scuba camp is open.
Yes, scuba camp is open. It's amazing.
That,
yes, self-contained, underwater, all that.
Well, good news, Georgia. Like we're on the low. We opened first, and we're on the low end of the disease. New cases and deaths. So we're doing really good. So hopefully that's good news for everybody. It doesn't matter, where you sit on this topic. The fact that we're doing good is good news for everybody. So we have some shoots scheduled in June, and crossing our fingers that they'll go. Yep. Okay.
We actually got a
let's get
scheduled today. So I mean, there is some stuff starting to go on up here, which is good.
That's fantastic. All right. So this is an incredible amount of material. You guys need to be taking notes because the things that they've done and the problems that they solved and the technology they use is really remarkable. So just to kind of get an idea, let's look at some of the photos that you've done.
Yeah. You can tell the stories because you're the artist.
What are you gonna say, Jay?
Yeah, tell us a little bit about how you got these photos.
Well, I mean, we just technically just going out there and we gather the people quickly. We're doing it in 2 minutes. I mean, a lot of this we're going to get into later in the webinar. But I mean, these photos here kind of represent a lot of the ways people did things. You know, you've got the family in the upper left-hand corner. We had to come back the second time because it took them a while to get everybody out there. And the dad has ALS and it was crazy. And the mom's in tears because we were able to capture that moment because that is their reality.
All the kids were home.
Oh, everybody was
friends
home,
were staying.
grandparents or
awesome.
something.
That was
Swing over to the one on the right, friends of ours that, they had this great front door. I was like, get in there. This is how we all feel, quarantined and captive and all that. We ran into some rainy days and some pouty kids
but they're adorable.
They're cute.
Sure.
And then, so many celebrations are being canceled. So we've run into a lot of graduates. This kid down at the bottom left graduated high school and made a commitment to South Carolina. The most impactful one up top is this guy had just flown in from Switzerland the night before, 8 hours before, and had to be self-quarantined in his third floor house, of his house for the next 2 weeks. And this was as close as they'd been able to get in that whole time.
And it took them more than a week to figure out how to get a flight out of Switzerland.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy.
Wow. So,
neat.
I mean, as you can see, these are like, the pull at the heartstrings, these photos. And, and we'll get into this a little bit more later, but what's unique about it is you wouldn't be able to get some of these if we haven't been quarantined. So that's kind of neat.
Really?
And I didn't know, I mean, the family in front of the big door, I didn't know that area was so dangerous that y'all had fortification.
Those are really good friends of ours. We actually wanted to lock them up.
Crazy. They're fun.
They did that so you guys wouldn't get in their wine cellar. I know the Martins. That's what's going on.
The funny thing, the guy in the lower right is a lawyer for Lowe's Home Improvement at the corporate headquarters. So the lawyer's in jail.
That's great. All right, so let's go. All right, so you guys kind of can understand how successful this project is. I like to look at the numbers, so let's just kind of talk about it. Ed or Kathleen, whoever wants to take this, how many signups? How many families did you photograph? How many pictures and money raised?
Yeah, it's been absolutely mind-boggling. We figured we'd start this thing. We heard about it, and we'd go out and shoot a couple dozen families and raise a few $100s and be done with it. But we actually turned off or paused registrations just recently. We're over 1,000 people that have signed up, 1,024 to be exact.
That is incredible.
It was amazing. Most of them are here in Mooresville, but we do go as far as South Charlotte, almost up to the South Carolina border. So a pretty wide area, but most of them concentrated up here. We photographed about 690 so far.
Every time he says those numbers, I'm like, oh my God.
I know, that's incredible. 600. That's such a big number. That is volume photography there.
That is. We
started it to them.
The first photo was taken March 23rd. So we haven't counted the number of days, but it was 39 days of shooting since March 23rd to get all those done. And this is the one that'll really make you feel about it. Your finger must be very tired from the trigger. We've done over 7,300 photos. We don't show up and just take one photo. You'll see that later on. And it's 7,300 photos, which is pretty startling. But the big one that we're most proud of, and I almost cry every time we start talking about this, we just got the updated number today. We've raised over $36,000 in donations for Feed NC, which is the local charity we support. That makes us the second biggest. It might actually be the biggest, but we know we're the second biggest in terms of total revenue generated, donations generated worldwide for everybody doing the Front Steps project.
Wow, that is incredible. Now tell us about like the food bank that you were donating all the proceeds to. What was their status before you guys started?
In bad shape.
Yeah.
I mean, they had no idea. That's the crazy thing about it. Everybody has a budget. We know what we've got coming in and going. They had no clue that we just one day said, Feed NC, let's go with that. And all of a sudden they see this money coming in. And, then it's $1,000 and then it's $5,000. By then we're in communication with them. And, now I think it's $10,000 a month to run the food bank or the, Feed NC, although now it's probably a lot more given what's going on. But
that feeds everybody in our town that needs food for a month. And so, just incredible.
That's incredible.
Now we're at 36,000. We got more than 3.5 months worth of runway for this organization. Obviously, we're not the only one, but the director did tell us that we are by far their biggest contributor.
Bigger than United Way.
He said we're bigger than United Way.
That's incredible. Well, not to mention the exposure they're going to get too, right? Like other people might, So many people we spoke with on their steps had never really heard about it, or they recently rebranded. They used to be the Mooresville Soup Kitchen. And now they're doing so much more, providing hot and cold frozen meals, groceries, things like that. In better times, they're going to be training people how to become chefs and work in the food services industry. So they do some really cool stuff. People around us just didn't really know much about them. You think of a soup kitchen, it's just, what happens there. And so now so many people are saying, now we have a place where our kids are going to go volunteer, where we're going to continue to contribute to. So we put them on the radar for many homes that they weren't already in. Sure, because that's a nice area of town. Who would have known, that there's a food bank that needed help like that? That's incredible.
Yeah,
all right, so you guys know.
Sorry, Jay, but something we learned that was, kind of amazing to us. You think of the food bank, and there's money donations, and we knew about them, by shopping at the local grocery store, and there's always something you can buy extra at the register and donate it to the food bank. But most of their donations, especially of food, actually come from restaurants. Any additional food they have left over, they donate the food.
Okay.
And are the grocery stores. Well, think about it. All the restaurants are closed. So they're not getting that food. The grocery stores are way down in capacity. They're not getting that. So the money was absolutely vital to them. For a period of time, a lot of the food service industry people, the Cisco's of the world, had stuff to get rid of, and that was getting donated to them. But that dried up too because the restaurant business was gone. So being able to do this financially for them was massive. Right.
Well, it's incredible too. I know you guys had no way to anticipate that it would go like this, However, it's like the fact that you guys are donating all that money in a tough time financially for everybody. Really generous. It's really generous. I think it would be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of photographers to not throw away or donate. We know you're going to get it back in the end, but on the upfront part, not knowing what, lies in your future, your financial future, making that decision to the food bank was really generous.
Yeah.
Well, and we never took any money, by the way. That all goes directly to the website of the food bank. I should clarify that, because you do not want to get into, if you're going to do something like this, you don't want to get into a situation where you're taking the money in. Find somebody else that, find a charity.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
okay.
Great point.
All right. Before we, the next thing I want to add, this, guys, if you didn't realize how volume, that's 39 days, they said 690 families. That's incredible. That's pretty much volume. And given that's 690 different locations, correct? I mean, everybody's in different locations.
Locations.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys learned a lot. Especially photographically. That is incredible. Okay, so the next thing I want to go over with you, and we had I had spoken with Ed and Kathleen when this was really starting to ramp up, and I wasn't sure that I wanted to do it because I was worried about the legality of things, and it was really hot topic when we had discussed this, maybe a month ago, and we decided that maybe it's not for me just yet, but for them it was different, and one of the main reasons, so we just get this out of the way so nobody is thinking that they're doing something wrong or endangering people. Talk about this executive order and how that helped you and helped that kind of clear your mind and move forward with the project.
Yeah, we actually started taking photos on the 23rd of March before the executive order came out. We knew it was coming, but we had started the project and started ramping up. And one of the families we happened to take photos of is a sergeant in the North Carolina State Police, is a neighbor of ours. And we were literally on his front steps.
Well, then we were 20 feet away.
Yeah, 20 feet. Good point. Yeah. Right. And said, hey, with the new law coming, how do you think that's going to impact you? It's not. You're going to be fine. If you actually read the text of the executive order, which at that point I hadn't, and I think a lot of people that that got anxious about doing this or concerned about doing this probably hadn't read the actual law and understood the intent. But he said, no, you are doing a volunteer effort. That is not going to get shut down. So we kept going, and then we started getting a lot of the negative feedback, which I'm sure that people have, from our own town and just in general, photographers saying, no, photography is not essential. You must shut down. We had one photographer in our own town that started emailing out to our list saying what the LKN Images was doing was illegal. And wow. It's not. I mean, if you read the text of the executive order, which I did, if you talk to lawyers, which I did, if you talk to police, we did, you find that volunteering, black and white, is an essential business operation and is authorized. Period. End of story. There's nothing more to it. We aren't doing this commercially as LKN Images. We're doing it with Kathleen Martin and Ed Martin, and we're just raising money, volunteering our time and effort to the local food bank, Feed NC. So I think anybody considering doing this, and there's still time, folks, you can absolutely go out and do that in your neighborhood. Sure. So I really recommend it. But take a look at your local law, and I bet you're going to find that it's just fine. You're not doing it as a business.
Lana is asking, how do you set it up for a portion of the money to go directly to charity? 100% of the money is going directly to charity. We're not taking any of it. The charity, feednc.org, has a donation button. We have directed everyone to that. We wanted nothing to do with money. Yeah, so
that's a great. Yeah, that's 100% great. Yeah, completely taken out of your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah, and I'm curious. Like, I'm not sure about Georgia. I mean, we've opened up a little bit here, so I'm not quite sure it'll be as effective. But those areas that are still in the shutdown mode, yeah, maybe it's not too late. Maybe there's another executive order they have in those states.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are still at home. That is the problem we're seeing right now. Is people are leaving. People are not going to be home for the day. It's sad.
Right.
And also in North Carolina, we're not as far along as Georgia, but I actually did put in the application about 2 weeks ago to allow LKN Images to go back into commercial business, and we were approved. I've got a letter signed by the governor and the Secretary of Revenue that authorizes us to do it, as long as we follow the social distancing regulations in Executive Order 21.
Which is photographers we exceed. I'm shooting with a 70 to 200. I mean, let's try and get 5 people into one of those with less than 20.
You have to back up. Yeah, you have to back up. Okay, so tell me about getting it started, the marketing of things. How did you get everything started? Let's start with your website there.
Okay, good. Fortunately, we redid the website. Ed redid the website in January. So we had a template, or, it's set up pretty well from Show It is who we use. Got that all set up and cleaned up and ready to go. So that when we heard about this, saw it on social media in March, saw it on a Sunday and said, we can do this. We got to do this. And was in a mad panic to get it done. So we did. Ed implemented it on the website, set up all the behind the scenes, and he'll tell you about that. But I have been working with swim teams and athletes and seniors in the area for a dozen years. And so I went after, for each neighborhood, my swim team list. And because that's all the little kids, everybody at home. Right. And then I also, in our particular neighborhood, run the Facebook page. So we've got 400 families on that or something. And so I put it out there for social media. And that was how we started it. And then we got going on, once people started seeing, it did grow. Once people started seeing it on my LKN Images Instagram and Facebook, it got crazy. That people were just all over it. They wanted that. I'm sitting at home, I'm seeing these pretty pictures come up, I want one. And so they were contacting us about it. And then everything was dropping over to the website so that they could get to it and register.
And then the website already had all the infrastructure built in, for the business, and we were able, as the owners of the business, we were able to just leverage it. So we were already tied into things like Eye Contact and Honeybook and everything we needed on the back end to do it. So the LKN Images website, take a look at, this is an example of the registration page as it exists.
Oh, nice.
We paused it right now.
Paused, yes. 1,000.
Just after basic information for people.
That's nice.
It just went absolutely crazy. But the good news is all the infrastructure was there to get us through.
Well, let me tell you something. One of my favorite things in life, in business is a waiting list. That's when you know you made it, when you have a waiting list.
Oh my God, I wake up in the middle of the night panicked about it. It's like, I've got 300 people that they're coming.
Yeah, we still got 210 people in the town of Mooresville on our waiting list right now. And we're going to get.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Well, that's too, we're going to get to that too, like the future opportunities. But okay, I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but I used to use Show It.
Okay.
And I got off Show It because it was a Flash site, so people weren't able to see it on Apple devices, you know. So just quickly, that problem with Show It used to be called Show It Fast, I believe.
Yeah,
and I loved it. It was fantastic. But then so everything's good. It's up to date. Yes. Yeah, I might have to revisit that now. That's
we are 100% Mac and Apple people here, and there's absolutely no Flash involved in it. They've got hundreds of templates that you can download. I really found their tools to be, really great to work with. So,
and Jay, if you need help, this guy knows how to do this stuff. So
yes, that's what I'm excited about. So I don't have to pay the thousands of dollars on my WordPress.
Only hundreds, so that no.
Oh goodness. Okay.
So involved. We'll call it even.
Yes. That'd be fantastic. All right. So with 300 something on the waiting list. This is a huge piece of this. And guys, I think you have to understand this is a whole system that they built. This isn't just like throwing it out there and let's see who is going to sign up. I mean, they have a whole back end system and they're just crushing it. How in the world did you organize all these families? You have 690. How did you do it?
Yeah, well, one of the big questions we asked on the registration was, what community do you live in? And that really helped us a lot. So we didn't have to sit there and say, where does this road relate to that road? I'll get to that in a minute. We did evolve and have to get into routing software.
Yeah, that's super exciting.
Yeah, we live in a community called the Farms, so we were able to tackle the farms. And right next to us is a community called the Point, and that's where we went next. And then we had the Harbor. But pretty quickly, you start running out of named neighborhoods, and you're just getting into zip codes, and it becomes a lot more difficult. But even as the data came in, iContact is great at capturing data. It's not particularly great at manipulating data, at least in bulk.
Yeah.
So on a daily basis, I would spend a lot of time.
First thing in the morning with a cup of coffee.
Yeah, probably two.
Yeah.
Download it into Microsoft Excel, clean things up.
Learned about pivot tables.
Yeah, I've learned a lot about pivot tables and things I didn't know about.
Everybody knows how smart Ed is if he understands pivot tables. I gave up on pivot tables.
I think Lisa and I are the only pivot table people.
I gave up.
She loves them too. But yeah, just cleaning it up, just making sure that phone numbers were formatted. So as we're running through and we're trying to text message people, how can we contact them quickly? Some people do it with parentheses, some people do it with dashes, some people do it with periods. I had to clean everything up, and I took everything every day, and then every day I would take everything. I think we get to this a little bit later. I took everything and I would integrate it into the address book on Kathleen's Mac, which went out to her iPad and her iPhone as well. So we had everybody's name in there, everybody's phone number, everybody's address. We were able to communicate with people that way, and just staying ahead of it was the critical thing. 1 or 2 cups of coffee in the morning, you can organize the day.
Getting it done. Yeah, that's incredible.
Every day, 7 days a week.
You'll have the time. Okay, so now if we go over to, I think we want to talk a little bit about what worked best for you. You mentioned Instagram or Facebook. What's your thoughts, conclusions on the best way to market?
That was pretty wild, actually, because, I've been a photographer. I love the visuals. So Instagram has always been a toy for me. And we work with 17 and 18-year-old kids, mostly high school seniors.
Right, who love Instagram, yeah.
So I've always been all about Instagram, and I cross-post over to Facebook. Well, in the past month, I've gotten so many friend requests from all these people that, we photographed or in the area and all that stuff. And then I'm starting to look at my Facebook numbers, and there's a lot of views. There's a lot going on with that. And I'm realizing that I've been missing the boat. My customer base, while the kids that I photograph find me on Instagram or know of me through Instagram, their moms with the checkbooks are finding me on Facebook. So it's going to be one of the things we'll learn out of this is we're going to have to pay more attention to Facebook and be a lot more active on Facebook than we have in the past. I've just been cross-posting. Twitter, not much. So the coaches I work with are on Twitter. That's about it. So and the athletic director. So that's about it. But it was a really kind of a weird, wow, didn't realize that was going to be that way.
Well, I think I got real lucky with Facebook because I started using Facebook early, and it was not because I was some sort of marketing genius. I just knew it.
Instagram wasn't invented yet, was it?
Yeah, Instagram really wasn't going, and I used Facebook, and I was really able to leverage my business using Facebook because I think, and it was just like what you said, is if you have a mom, her friends are similar to her, usually same age, same family, and that's the way things kind of gather momentum, and they're the ones, again, paying for the images. So I think that Facebook, still got to look at Facebook. It's not, they're not dead yet.
Oh no, especially you get into the 30 somethings and 40 somethings, and they are massively on Facebook. I've got a lot of parents that are 50 somethings, just barely, because, working with the seniors and stuff, and my old seniors, because I've done senior portraits for 10 years. They're on Facebook, but the parents are not on Instagram, not a lot of them. And my kids won't let me be on that, which is a whole nother story anyway. It doesn't happen here. But it's just really interesting to see that they don't understand Instagram and don't want to learn it. So.
Sure. You know what I found about Instagram is the moms that are on Instagram, they're photographers too. Like, you know what I mean? It's like those are the moms that are on Instagram. To me, seems like the ones that are kind of trendy. They have their phones. They have their little apps on their phone to make images
or something. Yeah, we've run into a few influencers that, define influencer, but we've run into some people that have pretty solid Instagram bases and have promoted us out through those. So that's been interesting.
Yeah, I've gotten I don't know how many jobs I've gotten through Instagram. Count on one hand, but Facebook, I've hundreds, if not thousands of jobs I've gotten through Facebook. Okay, so the next thing that we need to go through is the communication that you have the day of the shoot. So we're at this point where people have signed up, you've got them on the schedule, you've gone through the eye contact, and you got everybody's in the phone, but the actual communicating the day of is a whole job in itself.
Yeah, that's a pretty massive effort. So a couple of days before we're coming, we'll let everybody know, hey, we're gonna be there. I don't have the exact schedule yet, but we're gonna be there typically we shoot between about 1 o'clock and about 4 o'clock. The day before, we'll email out the schedule, and we're gonna get into the routing application that I found and we're using. But I'm able to take everybody's address and plot out the most efficient route through the neighborhood to get to the most people that we possibly can in a day.
That's huge.
Yes, because initially we were in our own neighborhood and we thought, oh, we know this. We can do this. No.
Yeah, we're going to go through that, guys, but I'm just telling you that software that Ed had found, I think, is going to be a big deal going forward if you want to make this kind of a business. But okay, let's keep. I don't want to get off topic.
Yeah, I think if you adapt this to anything, Jay, I think you're exactly right. I know a few slides now we got, so I won't cheat too much, but there's something really cool coming. So we would email out the day before, but then the day of, we completely switched over to text messaging. So we would, take groups of 5 to 10 and text out saying, okay, we're going to be your group 1. We're going to be at your house between 1 and 2 o'clock. And the order of name, the family name, it's going to be Martin, then Boatwright, and Millendorf and Aiken, and I'm going through the people in the chat over here. Let us know if you're not going to be available. Otherwise, we just assume you are going to be available. That really cut down on a lot of the feedback before. We'd say, hey, everybody confirm. Well, 1,000 people on the list and 690 families shot later. That's a lot of. We just cut it down. We also tried phone calls early on when we were going house to house, and it just took a lot of time.
Nobody uses their phone. Nobody talks on it.
Yeah, they'd rather text. Right. And then, as we go through, we're literally giving up to the minute, updates on when we're going to be there. It'd be like, okay, Jay Boatwright, we're coming up next. Well, that did 2 things. It got the family out on the front steps.
Oh yeah, you can always tell when we're in the neighborhood because people are showered, dressed, and sitting on the front steps.
Incredible. Okay, all right. So this kind of blows my mind how you guys got down to the minute. So let me just quickly make sure that I understand. So how many groups of text messages do you have? Did you break it up by the hour? Is that what you did?
I would do it about, I would look at the list, and there's going to be some natural breaks based on location. And so, I get probably about 10, sometimes as many as 12, because, people are going to be text bombarded for the entire time we're in that group. So I'll say, hey, you're group 1 of the farms. Welcome to group 1. We're going to be getting to you sometime between 1 and 2 o'clock. Stay tuned. We're going to be coming at you. And then as soon as we start that, I'll say, okay, well, in that first group text, I put the list of the group of names. And so, Martin, Smith, Jones, Boatwright,
Right.
so that they know where they are.
That's the first text. That's the first
in that
text.
very first text in their group. So then first up is Martin. We're going to be there in 3 minutes. I'm looking at the GPS and it's telling me 3 minutes away. So we show up there and we're here, typing on the text. And then as we leave them, the rest of the group, I'll say, okay, heading over to Jones's and so-and-so and so-and-so, you're on deck. And then we get it and we continue the talking of that. Now, sometimes we'll get a little bit of chatter with the moms and stuff. Oh my God, I got to brush my hair. What is this thing? And they're joking around. I got to find my kids. They seem to enjoy it. It's almost kind of like a live feed thing going on.
Absolutely.
You're down to a very small geographic area at that point. So they're all friends. They know each other. So
they're trash talking a little bit.
Right.
So,
you're texting the whole, you have to be on, I would think. Because I would think once you get done photographing, you're in the car and you're texting pretty much until you get to the next stop.
Yeah.
I can text like a 10-year-old, or a 12-year-old.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's a two-person job, right? She's the artist. She's taking all the shots. She's doing all the texting and communication. I'm holding the flash and driving.
Yeah.
And just get to that next spot.
You definitely
that has to be exhausting. Because you have to be on from the time you guys to stay that organized. From the time you get in the car, you got to be focused.
Well, you have to be on too. You have to be up because you're going in there, and these people, while it might only be 2 minutes that we're there with them, this is the highlight of their day, possibly even the week. Not to sound like an idiot,
I agree. Yeah,
it's a big deal.
It keeps you on a high also. To see people come out and be happy and smiling, and they're dressed up, and the kids are having fun. We come home exhausted but sky high because we just made 20, 30, or 40 families really happy that day. And raised a lot of money for a great charity. It was just incredible.
We joke around, we get there, and we'll say we are personally responsible for over 600 families showering.
That's great. Well, an example for yesterday, the reason why I think this idea has so much potential going forward is that I wanted to take a photo of the family, of my wife, of Karina and the kids yesterday, for Mother's Day. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I just didn't know. I had a couple of drinks, and I was like, But if I had somebody coming there, and I was like, okay, they're going to be here at this time. Everybody's got to be ready. I would have been on it, and I have the camera. That's the most convenient it could possibly be. So I think there's something. This is super exciting.
We haven't had a family picture in a long time. We had one on Saturday that made me cry. It was they came out. I cry a lot. It's really,
I'm an emotional guy too. I'm right there with you.
But the family came out and said, I don't know if you remember us, but when we first moved here 6 years ago, you took this picture of our daughter, and they came out with this beautiful framed, big print of their daughter when she was much younger. Sitting there, in the grass with their dog, and Kathleen said, "I almost hate to ask, is the dog still with us?" Oh, the dog's inside.
We lost a couple dogs.
We took the family photo, and then we recreated the photo from 6 years ago of that girl and the dog.
20 feet away in the grass.
It's just so cool to be able to do things like that.
Absolutely.
A lot of customers. Clients that this week coming up, we're going to photograph my very first senior that I worked with back for class of 2011. And I'm really kind of excited to see them. He works at Davidson College now as a football coach.
So that's an interesting point. Where did you guys post that image, before and after of them maybe holding, how you recreated that?
I haven't even gotten through that image yet. That was one of the 5 minutes we took on Saturday.
I forgot. You guys are overwhelmed. Yeah, I forgot. But I think the way I was able to grow my Facebook page, and I'm just thinking, once I got the time, what I would do is post that. I would friend that family, whoever the mom, I'd friend her and post that on her Facebook page.
Yeah.
That's how I was able to. It wasn't a business page; it was a personal page. Yeah. I wanted her to be my personal friend because once you post the image on their personal page, then you get to follow all the comments. And
Yeah,
as soon as somebody says, "Hey, where did you get that done?" then you're on it, and that's how you get. And you can't do that much when you do it on your business page. It's a lot more flexible on that personal page on Facebook. So
that's a great one.
Yeah. You talked about that during boot camp.
Yes, exactly. That might be a hint for the tip of the week. Okay.
If anybody else that hasn't done Jay's boot camp, you have to do it. We did the one in December. It is amazing. So
we're threatening to crash his July one.
Yeah, I did not pay them for that. I appreciate it. Okay, so logistics, tell me a little bit about the actual photo shoot. You guys, I know you'd mentioned kind of go back over what's the best time to shoot. How did it look once you got out of that car? You know, the time frame, what did you do? What equipment did you use? And
all right.
I think the handling the schedule stuff. Let's just talk about start there.
Okay, so 6 families 10 families. I don't remember how many an hour.
10 an hour.
10 an hour. Between 5 and 10 an hour, depending.
That's incredible.
How chatty we are and
how far
apart they are.
Okay.
Like I said, we shot our own, like our street this week. Those were 15-minute shoots each person because you got to catch up with them and do it and all that. So if you're going to do your own neighborhood, understand it's going to take a while. But when we're really rolling, we're 10 an hour and we're moving. We get out of the car. They're sitting on the porch. We do front steps. By the way, just aside, it is the Front Steps Project. It was created by 2 people in Needham, Massachusetts. That hashtag is trademarked.
Yep.
It's not the front porch. It's not the front stoop. It's not the front door. If you're going to use it, attribute it accordingly.
Do the Front Steps Project. Just honor the original name. And
because they put a lot of work into it.
Fabulous.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah.
And they're also tracking the donations overall. Internationally, they've raised over $1 million under that hashtag, the Front Steps Project.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, join that movement.
It's a really good thing. So we get out. I've got a Canon 1DX Mark II. I'm running with my 70 to 200. Version 2 lens on that one. We've got the Godox 8200s with a little softbox, and we're holding that on a monopod because it's easier than any other thing. As the light guy.
I'm the flash guy.
And so running typically somewhere between, as low as 125 ISO all the way up. We did run at 2000 the other day because it was raining dark and almost nighttime, but typically no higher than 640. I like to keep it at f5 just because I want to, you've got playing people, and again, being back so far, it makes it easier, but I'm trying to keep the focus. 400 is about as low as I'm going because we're still using the flash. That helps. And I mean, the light is challenging. It's miserable. And we're trying to, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And guess what? It's here. And not everybody's front step has shade, or some of it has too much shade, dappled light. So we typically get them standing up for a photo and then sitting down for a photo. I have on occasion, when I know the front steps are going to be just kind of a miserable lighting situation, I'll pull them off the steps, put them in some shade in their front yard, and get a picture of them down on the ground with the house behind them. But the photo that they get for free is the one that I decide. It's kind of like the old way of doing team and individual photography. You get the one I choose. I choose the one that's most compelling, I think, for social. Like if you look at these 2 pictures here, that one of 5 dogs and 5 people, that one was absolutely going to be the one going up there. And, they're
all looking.
Yeah, they're all looking.
Meaning the dogs.
Yeah, the dogs and the people were too. Yeah, you never know. Some of the kids don't. So there is probably another option of a photo there that, in fact, there are other photos that they liked better. But this is the one that epitomizes the Front Step Project. And, shows what I want to show.
Well, that's incredibly generous of you guys posting the best photo. Because I know some people might hold that one and give them the free one where they aren't looking.
The best story I'm posting. It maybe isn't the best photo. I mean, is that the picture they want to put on the mantle? Probably not. And I mean, the photo of the family on top of that, there's another photo of them sitting down that they're a little more cuddled in. And I think that one, if I was going to post it, would have been the one I'd put up. Or if I was going to put it in my house, would be the one I put up. But the way they had all the decorating done with the flowers, I thought that was just so beautiful. And it really showed a nice front steps. That's why I chose that one.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, but the thing is, what's great about this, and we'll get into it later, is that you'll hopefully have, since you took so many great photos, you'll be able to offer some more things to
Yeah,
your
never
customers.
take just one. Never take just one.
You do about 10 to 12
10 to 12
photos
photos
on each
thing.
stop.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
About 2 to 3 minutes. Then
Yeah.
we hop in the car and go to the next one.
But that's where all of
Got
the
it.
P&I background comes into it. I mean, I'm used to taking pictures of kids. Jay, how many minutes does it take you to shoot a baseball player?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's 30 seconds. Yeah.
Good, fast, cheap. Well picked too. So in this case, it's all cheap though. That's
Great, yeah.
Yes. Well, how is the how many hours can you do in a day given that schedule, working that fast?
Well, we'd prefer to do about 3. We found out we can do 8. Don't do 8.
Woo!
We just did that on Saturday.
Oh my gosh.
That was-
Y'all got to be still in the recovery mode from doing that.
Incredible. We had it split Friday and Saturday, and unfortunately it started raining on Friday, so we had to take the back half of Friday and add it on to Saturday, which is why it went so long.
Yeah.
Wow.
Plus, we're in our own neighborhood again, doing the
again,
second
it
house in our
takes a little
neighborhood,
bit
and,
longer.
talking to all of our friends, and it just took a lot longer.
And I
So
mean, I'll talk to a wall. So I'll talk
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, couple of photography questions. What you use 8200? How many batteries did you have to keep with you?
1.
One battery.
Yeah, because I'm running it at 16, 32. Sometimes I'll pop it up no more than 1/4.
Okay, and you have to change each location, right? It's a little bit different.
Every location was a little bit different. You would go from somebody, if you look at the top photo, they had some really great shade. It was very even. A lot of them have white driveways, with the concrete. So you get that nice
so
light coming through. And then this one below, sun coming through trees. And it's just, so, but there's others that the sun is just beaming on them. So to the point where people are wearing sunglasses. And that's house to house to house. You cross the street and you've got problems.
We got really good at figuring out even number, odd number on a given day, which was the sunny side and the shady side at what hour.
Yeah, you learn your directions really fast, right? Where is west?
Out though, you're there. You're there. It's sunny. You're shooting what you have. So that I'll tell you, as a photographer, the skills that we picked up. I've been shooting a long time. I've got some pretty good skills with the camera. In the past 7,000 photos or whatever it was, I've learned a lot more.
That's 690 locations. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's true.
It's all those different locations. It's just incredible. And tell me a little bit about, do you have any posing little secrets? Because I see how well this is composed. How did you manage heights, and what was your kind of strategy setting the families up?
I don't really like the top one. Those are where parents typically pose themselves. I always put the mom and dad in the middle, because I had a photo shoot one time where I put the mom and dad separate and I didn't hear the end of it. So I was like, okay, mom and dad in the middle, put the kids on either side. I try and keep them on that flat plane, whether they're standing on the second or top step, because I think that, that's interesting. And I try and frame it. Everybody typically has some type of columns or rails or whatever. I frame them inside that. And get that done. And so that's the standing. And then we move to sitting. Now, sitting is so much easier when you've got the dogs involved. Standing, if they're little dogs, they can hold them or, put them between their legs or something. The dogs are definitely.
You have become amazing with dogs. You are the dog whisperer, Ash. You can always get their attention.
How did you do it? Was it a whistle, or what did you do?
With this one, you're just.
No, the dogs, like your general go-to to get their attention quick.
I click it. And just do that.
But you also ask the name. If there's more than one dog, she would ask the name of the alpha dog, because you call that one and they both look.
Yeah. And then find their cookie or treat, or then you're on walk or car ride. And by the time you leave, the dog really hates you, because he's like, that jerk didn't give me a cookie.
Nothing but lies.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to come again there and they're going to be like, oh, there's that woman. But here's perk. And, it's like horses. Horses have that perk thing. The dogs will turn, and sometimes you get a head tilt on it, which, at that point, I like a dog better than like a 2-year-old to shoot, because they respond better,
Sure.
But that's, it's just easier to get their attention. And we've just gotten to the point where we know what to do with them, how to pose them. Parents get really worried about it. Or families get worried about, the dog's not going to behave. The dog is going to settle down. Once you hit that flash, he's like, something's going on. So flash is an issue, because we're doing off camera. A lot of the kids that are maybe 7 and under have a really hard time looking at the camera and not the flash. And so we've got photos of the kid like this, I can see them in there. Again, I'm only spending 2 minutes with them and I'm trying the best. And so we shoot fast and that 8200 recycles nicely. So.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you were at full power, it would be struggling, but since you guys were at quarter to 132, then your recycle time's quick. So you can get bang, bang, bang. Yeah.
The only day we went through more than one flash battery was Saturday. At the end of the day, I had to switch the battery.
So.
Got it. So maybe it helps to bump that ISO up a little bit, right? Just so that way you can have a little less.
Yeah. I mean, doing sports photography and action sports, I'm not afraid of high ISO. Lightroom's got noise reduction if I need it. And I mean, I've had senior sessions where we're up to 1,000 in some cases. So it's not my preference, but I'm not afraid of it. And the Canon 1DX Mark II handles it quite nicely.
Sure. Well, let's be realistic. People aren't going to do.
What?
I'm sorry. They're not going to be printing 24 by 36 images, most of them anyways.
Yeah, and the size of the file we're giving them is big enough for about an 8 by 10, I think. Maybe a little bit bigger. Yeah, it's about 8 by 10. One of the things about when they're all together, we do that stand and we get the picture and they'll say, hey, come on, squeeze in there and make them all touch. I always like to see people connected and touching. And when they sit down, we get the kids with their arms on their dad or mom's legs and just, I want the connections to show, because a photo where nobody's touching is so boring. So you just want so you start out, it's like those wedding photographers that do, okay, now squeeze, you get that kind of pull them all in together.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, Lisa's apparently going crazy. Sorry, Lisa.
I love the dog picture. I just love that dog picture. It's fantastic.
Jay, I'll give you some credit here as well, because we learned a lot from you in December, but you have not sacrificed quality.
True.
Even though we're minimizing time in what we've been doing. The photos we've taken, and just follow the Front Steps Project hashtag or go to lknimages.com. Everybody, you can see everything she shot. You're not sacrificing quality. In fact, you're probably getting things you wouldn't normally get. Dogs, again, you've made this comment that if people are going somewhere to come to you for a family photo session, they probably wouldn't bring their dog, or they wouldn't bring multiple dogs. But because we're going to them, they are able to bring them out, and it becomes really the big, cool family photo. I mean, that's been really neat to be able to do things you wouldn't do.
You get the old dog. I mean, if you go through the feed, you can see, we've got one dog, he's doing this tripod, he's leaning over. We've had a few dogs that they're just so old. They would never have brought those on a family photo session. And having the dog and having your house and having your place, it so represents the family better. Now, the downside of that is we did have, over the years, I've photographed a lot of dogs, and my kids teach me about this. Some of these dogs have died. I think as a senior photographer, you end up photographing a lot of 14 and 15-year-old dogs that have grown up with a kid. And for some reason, shortly thereafter, they do not survive. I'm not killing dogs. I'm not doing that. So we did have two families. Like one came out on a Saturday and they're like, oh, our dog, he stopped walking today, but they were able to get him in the picture. And he was a part of the family. And she calls me or texts me the next morning, our dog, we just had to put it down. Thank you for taking the last photos of our dogs. So that was, I cried for that one.
Yeah. I have a 14-year-old dog that my daughter, who's going to be a senior, we have photos of her in kindergarten, on waiting for the bus. So don't get me crying, Ed. You're going to make me cry in front of everybody.
But I think about bringing it to somebody's house, you capture those moments that they wouldn't have otherwise. Because when you bring a dog to a photo shoot, it's going walking around and it's crazy and it's sniffing and it's hyper. Here it's home,
Yep. That's a great point. Okay, so let's go. Tell us about this routing software that you stumbled upon and how important that was to your whole overall system and how it really helped with the professionalism of the project.
Yeah, without a doubt, we wouldn't have gotten to half as many people as we did without this. So I was starting to really stress and spend a lot of time every morning taking addresses and trying to work out a path. And even in one of the neighborhoods here, we just start at the beginning of one street and go to the end of that street. But then you've got all the finger streets that go off of it, and you'd skip over those. So you'd be backtracking, and it just got crazy. So I started looking for a solution. I came across this product called Rotific. Rotific.com is the website. And it looked really cool and really compelling. And then there was a big blurb right on the front page saying, if you want to try Rotific and you're using it for charity, you can use it for free for 3 months. It's like, all right, I'm going to give this a try. So
yeah,
I started
that's
taking
fantastic.
the database, and you can just easily import an Excel sheet. It takes a look at all the addresses and it figures out the most efficient route. And you can either do it efficient by time or efficient by miles. We did it by time. Yeah. And it's incredibly flexible at the individual stop level. You can put in if there's anything that people need, like, oh, can you come between 2:30 and 3 o'clock because my daughter is taking a nap until 2. So you're able to put all those exceptions in there. It factors those in and creates the route for you. You can manually move things around if you need to.
Which you have to.
And that's all done on the computer ahead of time. Then there's an app on your phone. It's for Android or iOS. And it will take the information and create the driver route. So while I'm out driving around literally with Kathleen, it is telling us where to go, and it tells you your next stop and ties directly into multiple GPS apps. So you can use Google Maps, Apple Maps, and it creates that for you. This is a screenshot actually from a shoot we did last week. These are 2 side-by-side neighborhoods that we shot, and this is what it does. We actually started in the lower part of the map there. That was the first neighborhood called Wellesley, and then we left and went to the one at the top of the map that was called Northbridge. And I don't know how many stops are in there, 30-ish.
A bunch.
That day.
No, I think we did 27, 28.
27 that day. It was a bunch.
That's incredible.
That's incredible. It works fantastic. And like I said, anybody that wants to use it, you can use it for free for 3 months.
Yeah.
I've had questions along the way. It's the founder of the company, Mark, who emails back.
Okay.
And he and I built a little bit of a relationship. I'm a software guy. He's a software guy. So that certainly helped. And I've given him some pretty good feedback on the product, which I've got nothing but great things to say about it. So, going forward in the future, if we're going to be able to do this, I've joked with you, Jay, I call it the Domino's Pizza delivery method of volume photography. Yes. But if we're going to do that, go out, I cannot recommend this product.
You couldn't do it without it.
Could not
do it without it.
Look at the groupings though, which I find this map fascinating, because look, there's one street in the bottom of the screen. You have 3, looks like a cul-de-sac. It looks like people are doing it together. Like they're like, hey, these photographers, they're coming. You guys want to participate?
You'll have somebody that's like, I heard about this, and they'll get all their neighbors. And so having an advocate for an area is very helpful. We had this one woman in the neighborhood next door, and she was just like wildfire. She actually ended up shadowing us the whole day.
She was driving around with her golf cart chasing us.
That is so funny.
I could smoke for 5 feet though. I got out of her pretty. I was a little slow in the golf cart.
I think that is fascinating though, is to see that you really need to get 1 to 2 in that neighborhood, and then maybe just word of mouth, just texting. Apparently, because look at it, they have that one up there at the top that's 4. It looks like they're all right next to each other.
Yep.
It's exactly what happens. It goes viral.
And that's where they love that texting group while we're going back and forth on them. They're shouting back and forth on each other in the emails or in the text messages.
We've had people like razzing each other from across the streets as they get their photos done.
We've had some that are getting ready for happy hour.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Happy hour starts like at 10 a.m. during this thing, though.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, okay, let me make sure that I follow you here. So, all right, they sign up for the Routific. Is it Routific? Is that how you say it?
Routific. Yep.
Okay. So they go to the website, don't show it. They submit their information. Then it goes to iContact, and from iContact, then you export that into Excel.
Yep.
And then from that, you send it to Routific. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. And it's just a simple Excel sheet. iContact, for people that have used it, it's really easy to just export to a CSV file, which I put up in Excel, and I either save it as a CSV again or an Excel sheet. It doesn't matter. Routific just takes that and creates the route.
And we've been using iContact. I mean, I've been using it for a long time. It was the first email marketing product that I latched onto. And I'll tell you, I've looked at others. And the reason I don't go to somebody else is because right now I'm only $14 a month for 1,000 contacts. And so anybody else is going to be a lot more money. So I've made it
So
work.
interesting.
It's not glamorous and sexy what they can do for their emails, but it works. You
But a
know?
lot of times you don't need all that bells and whistles. You need to do a very specific job, right?
Yeah, well, and I mean, I use it for contacting my seniors if I'm going to be doing batch emails to them and swim teams and things like that. So yeah, but it works.
Yeah, I got to do something. I'm not good at that portion of my business. That's really neat.
Facebook is wonderful. It's great. And you have all your Facebook friends and business and all that stuff. But in the end, if Facebook turns you off, you're gone. And those are your people. You've got to have your own email marketing list. So now we have 1,000 families on our list that they know us, they've seen us, but for the most part, you've got to have an email marketing list. You can't count on Facebook to maintain your database. So
that email list that you guys have right now, that email list that you guys have right now,
it's gold.
Is so valuable because you just did the most charitable thing, the most, the worst time in our country, and you guys have developed. They're going to have so much trust for you. That list is going to be worth tens of thousands of dollars going forward for your business, I would think.
I would hope.
Yeah,
I mean,
we think we've already had a few sessions already booked. So
yeah, that's fantastic.
Mark, you asked a question up here about did we check if they had actually made the donation to charity? We don't. We get updated tally numbers whenever I ask from FeedMC. We don't get it at the user level. I don't want it at the individual level, quite frankly. It's all goodwill. And in the beginning, we were worried about it a little bit, but as the money really started rolling in, and clearly the average donation was much greater than $25 that we asked. We said minimum $25. So much money was coming in. People aren't cheating it. They really are being charitable.
And if they can't afford to do it, then really that's not our
and that's just fine. Enjoy your photo. That's fine. This is it's a group effort. It's not down to the individual level.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a really important takeaway, is the fact that you guys didn't base your whole model on a few people who would cheat the system.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of photographers out there really spend so much time. Oh, what if they take a screenshot? What if they do this? But like you said, your average order was, your donations are way higher than the 25. So you're focusing. You don't have to focus on all. You might have a small percentage of people who are going to take advantage of the system, but don't base everything on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah. That's a great point. What about GPS? I know, Kathleen, you said GPS, but it's just a phone. Y'all just use a phone for
iPhones. Yep. Just
dialing away.
I end up using typically when I drive, I use Waze. I'm a big fan of Waze for getting around traffic. If it was in a traffic situation, nobody's on the road.
There's no traffic.
I don't have to worry about that.
I end up just using
You don't have to worry about it.
in small geographic areas, so I'd use that. But it uses Apple Maps also. You get your choice of what GPS app you want to use with Rotific.
Mm-hmm. Got it. All right, so we've gone the signups. You guys are working crazy. Once that photo shoot starts, the whole day is crazy. Tell us about once you get done. Tell us about the back end. What we're using to edit the photos, the backup process, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Step one every night when we get home is open the bottle of wine.
Yes.
I actually didn't put that in the presentation, but that
is number one.
That brings back, if you're doing this and you're on the road, we have tried really hard to be self-contained. We have our own water, we have our own snacks, we have our own hand sanitizer, all that stuff. Just to, people have offered us stuff. We had a really interesting one this weekend that had set out 2 bottles of water, a bottle of soda, like club soda,
and a bottle of Grey Goose.
A little snippet of Grey Goose.
I might have to take that one.
We did.
We had a couple people give us some bottles of wine, and we whatever that is.
Well, my Grey Goose somehow vanished this weekend because I had all my kids home.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
Quarantine with other kids.
Yeah, we call our daughter
all of a sudden.
Wine. Thank God they're not here right now. They're in Maryland and Texas. But immediately after pouring the glass of wine, and that process really didn't change. We do the same thing whether it's a T&I shoot or a senior shoot. We're an Adobe shop, so I use Lightroom. Kathleen uses Lightroom Classic. So I'll just differentiate. I know people call it Lightroom Mobile or whatever. It's going to be Lightroom and Lightroom Classic. I actually use my iPad and import all the photos off of her card into Lightroom, and it immediately syncs up to the Adobe Cloud. So everything goes in, it's up there, which also means it syncs back down to all of our other devices. On Kathleen's iMac back here, we've got an external drive attached to it, and that's where the Lightroom Classic library is housed.
Okay.
It just automatically downloads to that from the cloud, and vice versa. When she edits there, it goes back up to the cloud and then down to the other devices. And like I said, I use Lightroom, not Classic, but I'm doing the exporting to get the photos out to people, and all the photo day photos that we do coming out of this as well. It just works really slick and gives us a cloud backup. We're not reliant on anything being local, which is great. We also just use Time Machine, which is built into Macs, so that there's constant backups throughout the day. And another piece of technology, we've been using it for 5, maybe 10 years at this point, called Backblaze, which is an outsourced backup service. It's only $5 a month for unlimited storage. Yeah. And every night,
I'm checking that out for sure.
It's awesome. We've actually never had to use it. We've never had to get a backup from them, but I know it's there. And for the last 5 years, every day, any updates to her machine are updated at 10 o'clock at night. Just
also
automatically
my archive drive. I've got like an
external drives,
terabyte. I don't know. I got a massive backup drive that it takes care of too.
The first backup, when it copies everything, will take. It did. It took about a month because it doesn't take all your bandwidth. It tries to do it at night. It's actually it's very efficient system. But once it's done, all it's doing each day is just doing the incremental changes. And that'll last anywhere from, depends on what we shoot, 15 minutes to maybe an hour. It doesn't take that long at all.
But we're doing it off hours.
Well, you guys really pay attention because Ed has a software background. So if he's suggesting any software, I couldn't explain it, but I'm sure he could. But I would really take his word if he is suggesting a software to you.
My in-house staff.
That's right. So that's pretty much it. And that's the system that we have. Like I said, we've had that for OK and Images. Before I was working with Kathleen doing it, that's just the system that we have. It works great. So highly recommend doing that. And step one also, start with the wine. Always start with the wine.
I have a question about the Lightroom because I don't use Lightroom. I use Lightroom Classic, so I just send everything to my server. But I'm real interested in the that you're using Lightroom to make sure everything syncs. So she makes so everybody understands too. When Kathleen makes an edit, it updates on your iPad, correct?
Everything because everything syncs to the cloud. We use the Adobe Cloud service. Right
now. What kind of, on the iPad, when you're uploading to the iPad using Lightroom, it's the mobile version. Just tell me how you do that. You have a memory card set up? Do you have USB-C memory card? What kind of iPad is it, first of all? Is it iPad Pro?
iPad Pro, there she is. iPad Pro, just a little 10 or 11 inch, whatever it's called. I was using. I
have the big one.
She has the big one. I was using my MacBook Pro to do the uploads, and the reason I stopped using it is I woke up. This is about a week ago. I woke up and suddenly it's complaining at me that it's out of space. It's like, no, this is not possible because in Lightroom, I know you can do it in Classic, but you can also do it in non-Classic Lightroom. You can set the amount of cache that it's supposed to use by a percentage of the free space. So I had it set down to like 5%. It's not supposed to keep anything local. But I don't know if it's a bug or if it's a feature. If you're offloading onto your Mac, it keeps all the photos local and doesn't get rid of them. So I filled up a terabyte drive on my MacBook by offloading on the MacBook versus offloading on the iPad. On the iPad, it doesn't store anything. It just goes right up to the cloud. It just stores thumbnails.
That's interesting.
That's interesting. Time, and because the Pro is, I know you can't see it, but it's USB-C on the side of it. I've just got a little external drive. We plug in your CFast card that comes out of the Canon. It doesn't take long.
No, it's pretty fast.
And as long as your as long as your iPad is plugged into power, the iPad version of Lightroom stays on. It doesn't shut down, so it will keep doing the sync in the background. Clearly, it's not as fast as doing it on a wired machine, but we've got Wi-Fi in the house, so it takes even on Saturday. By the time we were done with 530 odd photos,
it's done before you're going to get at them because by the time you finish that number of photos, you're not going to start at them until the next morning anyway. Right. One of the things when we did that switch, when Ed came on board in September and took a look at everything I was doing and said, no, we're not going to just do it. We got to add the cloud and all that stuff. I'm like, oh, great.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
I gotta go
Wait till I show up at your house, Jay, and say, this is what
Dang, I hate when you have good ideas like that.
I got on my computer that morning and all the folder structure that I had lived and died on was different. And I'm looking at it going, so hun, where's all my stuff?
I
Now
know that was not that nice. I know it wasn't.
But Jay, you would be, you got to be really aware of what you're doing and what it's going to look like. So we can talk about that at some point. That's a whole different webinar.
Yeah. I know I can go so deep into that. That's so fascinating. So, but I know y'all got. I mean, I'm not questioning anything y'all did after this project. It's unbelievable. Okay, so what? So you got everything backed up via the cloud.
Yep.
Love the system because you got what? There's 3 or 4 backups, right? I mean, you got the cloud. Yeah, I mean Backblaze. I mean you got. I mean that's So you're doing good there.
Multiple Macs. Cloud with Adobe, which is really the massive library is in the cloud. So
right, that's fantastic. All right, so now we're down to delivering the images. Tell us how you're going to do that, and also the free image, and then what you're doing after that.
Yep.
Okay, so when I'm in Lightroom, I'm marking the ones that I think are the best, and then I go through and narrow it down. For each family, I pick one image that I like the best.
How are you marking them? I'm interested. Are you flagging or are you color coding?
Say that again. I didn't hear you.
How are you picking? Are you flagging or using color codes?
I don't use color codes because those annoy me, but I use flags. I pick.
Flags, okay.
And then I'll get rid of and then when I get all my picks, I go through and narrow down to them. And out of the picks, I'll pick a 5-star. And so the 5-star is what I use. And I mean, color. It's all the same thing, it's how you do it.
Flags and stars, yeah.
Yeah, I'm flags and stars, your colors. So,
got it.
That's how I started doing it. It works that way. I will take that singular image I pick of each family. I throw it over into Photoshop. It's probably a step I don't need to do, but that's the portrait photographer in me. And I run a quick action on it that I have that does a few things. Is it necessary? Probably not, but it's what I do. So,
right, understood.
I'm not putting watermarks on them. I started doing that, and that was just too much. And so right now, take a good, I don't care, use them on social, do whatever. We use SmugMug. That's where I started with my sports galleries. It has a way that we can throw the photos up in that singular gallery for each neighborhood, and people can download their image individually. And then
by neighborhood is the gallery.
Yeah. So. And then we have all those other photos we took. We took a dozen photos maybe of each family. We're only giving them one. And I say that when we finish that photo, when we have, click, that's it, we're done. Thank you very much. We appreciate your participation. Thank you so much for your donation to Feed NC. Have you gone online and done that yet? And they're like, yes, no, how do I do it? So we explained to them, because we're kind of closing it there with you did pay, right?
I love that piece. So when they're done, it says, and they required to submit the question, or is it just?
No, that's me standing on their yard saying, hey.
Oh, okay.
And then I explained to them that in the next week, we're going to be sending you an email where you'll be able to download your image. And I do this, download your image. Because I don't want any expectations of, hey, where are the other 2 dozen or whatever.
Oh, yeah. That's the worst question. Yes.
Expectations, right?
Yep.
But because there's all those other photos, we had very quickly up front, we had people saying, what about the other ones? What about the other ones? I want to see, it's like the little kid. Let me see the back of your camera.
Yep.
So we said, all right, due to popular demand, we have a system that we use for our team and individual work that we're going to put the photos up there. You'll be able to go in there and look at them by neighborhood, by street, and you can view or purchase these images as digitals or prints. And for a little bit there, when printing was all shut off, I was like, all right, it's digitals. A portion of the proceeds will go back to Feed NC. We're going to make a donation to Feed NC when we're done with this. But a portion of the proceeds is also going to our gas tank because we have gone through 7 or 8 tanks.
Sure.
So people love it.
Yeah.
They really like it. And so
it's still incredible that you guys are still donating on top of what you've already done. And you're still giving a percentage. That's fantastic.
the whole
years
point of it.
ago, I did something a long time ago that was like, I was going to give a portion of the proceeds, or I was going to do something. People want to feel like you've got some, it's weird. They want to feel like you have skin in the game too, and that you're
Right.
giving back. So, well, why should we buy something from you if you're making all that profit, which, you know, because this is
Right.
like whole of a product or profitable month, right?
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting because I did, I finally got one of my leagues, one of the first ones the big ones we switched over to Photo Day. And I was like, look, we got to switch things up, on and on. And they let me tell the league how much money we've actually donated, and people had no idea. And so I really and I think it's good from the Photo Day perspective that you're letting parents and your customers know that a portion, if you're doing any, kickbacks or what do you want to call it, rebates, I'm in a part of the country where it just has to be done.
Yeah,
if you're doing that, if you can convey that to the parents, and I think it's great it's only going to help your business if they understand why your prices are this much, but that's a lot of that's going back to the park. So same kind of concept, right?
Stuff, yeah. Yep. One of the things we mentioned at the beginning was that a lot of these neighborhoods that we're working with are on my swim teams, or they go to local high schools. They're on the lacrosse league that I photograph, or the high school stuff. We're telling them this Photo Day thing, the one where you're getting the photo and you can view and purchase, that's what we're using right now for our team and individual. And so now they've got, where I was worried initially introducing it to the swim teams because I've been dealing with them for 12 years.
Right.
Now they have seen this new way of doing business, and I'm going to be able to refer back to it. And so, other people that have sports outside of, leagues that I'm not in yet, they're going to look at this and say, well, why are we doing it this way? So,
absolutely. Well, I would think that, whatever sales you get on top of this are good. It's bonus, but I would just think the media attention. Tell us a little bit about some of the media that you're getting, which is super exciting, that I just found out about this morning.
Yeah.
I think that's the valuable thing that's going to happen to you guys.
Yeah. Well, being a big Apple fan, I asked Lisa and Jay to put in one more thing for me. We actually found out about this last week at the end of the day doing a shoot.
Yeah, that is incredible.
Lake Norman Regional Medical Center, which is the big hospital here in our town, is going to make Is going to make a $10,000 donation on behalf of the Front Steps Project. So that $10,000 is going to feed NC because of this project. So tomorrow afternoon at 2:00, Kathleen and I are going to be over there taking photos on the front steps of the medical center.
Yeah.
Of the entire staff of Lake Norman Regional. So we were at 36,000 as of this morning. We're going to be at 46,000 as of 2:00 tomorrow, which is just unbelievable.
That's you think you're going to get to the 50?
That's my goal. We have not set a goal prior to this, but now I'm calling it, and I'm going to really be clear about it with people and say, look,
that's it. That's it. 50. Yeah,
it'd be nice. It's a pretty number.
But here's another really important part of this donation, and the Feed NC people are the ones that pointed this out. This we think is going to be the point where this transitions from being, neighborhoods and individuals making $25 donations into, because now there's all this awareness, right? The 1,000 people that we shot, they all live here, they all work here. We live in a town with a big hospital. We live in a town where Lowe's Home Improvement,
that's the
international headquarters is based here. NASCAR's here. All the big banks are based in Charlotte. All these people live up here. So there's big awareness, and they want to take what's happening with Lake Norman Regional and turn that into something where other businesses start to get behind this. So the Front Steps Project is going to turn into the Front Door Project, going out and hopefully working with local businesses going forward to do something spectacular like this donation.
I mean, I'm just thinking the business part of me just can't help but thinking, it was like, okay, all this stuff, I'm thinking, headshots. You know what I mean? These businesses are going to be calling you corporate headshots. What else can you? They're going to be trying to find reasons to help to use you guys and hire you guys. It's incredible.
Already, I've gotten a couple senior sessions out of this. We talked to a basketball league that's interested in working with us. I mean, we've definitely seen field hockey. Yep. So
that's just so incredible. Yeah. All right, let's see go to your hashtag there, Ed. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, well, just media-wise,
Yeah.
when this Lake Norman medical thing came up, I went back
Uh-huh.
to some friends that I worked with in marketing, had them put together a little press release. I know it's impossible to read on the slide, but basically classic plus press release talking about what we've done, how
Uh-huh.
much we've raised, and announcing that on Tuesday this donation is going to happen. I had a couple of contacts in the media world, and some I just reached out to cold. Tomorrow morning, the Good Day Charlotte people from the local Fox affiliate are going to be here at 9 a.m. They're coming to our front steps.
That's so great. I love it.
The NBC affiliate in Charlotte is going to be at Lake Norman Regional tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. The local paper is going to be here. So we're really starting to ramp up on the media side now that everybody's coming out of it. We've got a great story to tell of how well this has gone. And it's
constantly attributing back to the photographers in Needham, Massachusetts. That's the one thing that we've been adamant about.
Right.
This is not our idea.
Right.
We're just
this is
implementing
Kara and
it.
Kristen, and we've been lucky enough to get to know them because of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we told them about the $10,000 donation, they said, "Well, now you're kicking our ass on donations." I'm not sure if they were joking or not. We actually might be the around.
Yeah,
but that's not a competition. Working with them has just been awesome. It just feels awesome.
Well, guys, I mean, you still have to, another nugget. I mean, there's so many good teaching moments here, but Ed, you did the press release, right?
A friend of mine did the press release. I'm the business guy, not the marketing guy, but a friend of mine did.
Fantastic. Like, was that your idea, or whose idea was the press release?
Yeah, it's I went and said, hey, we need to get a media brief put together, and then picked up the phone and called a friend of mine who used to work for me as a VP of marketing for one of my companies, and said, hey, Matt, would you mind whipping this up? And he was gracious enough to do it. And that whole collage of photos up at the top, he did that, which I think is fantastic.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are all some of the photos.
Yeah, it's all our people. Quick jump, Mark, you're asking questions about, so they only give one free. We give one free. We have them download it through a SmugMug site that we have. The remainder of them, if they want to purchase them or view them, they have to go to the photo day, which is the text front steps project, whatever the neighborhood was. We have specific ones for each neighborhood, to 90738. We also send them the link. One of the things I found with my Facebook friendly parents, they need a link, because if they're getting an email from us and we give them a text, they kind of freak out. And so we give them a link to and the access code. They are able to go there and they can purchase the digitals or more prints. Digitals are $25, prints are whatever.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
And we only offer 5x7s and 8x10s.
Yeah, we didn't offer
8x10 because they're just not edited to print well beyond that.
Got it. That makes sense.
Does that help?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's incredible.
So cool.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
And by the way, everybody, you guys can feel free to email us if you got questions afterwards. Kathleen at lknimages.com and Ed at lknimages.com.
Now I'm gonna have to rewatch this whole thing because there's a lot of good info in here. Now, okay, I do want to talk about this because I know we've talked about this some, but you guys, what do you think the potential of this is as a actual business? And I guess my big question is this: like, Ed, just kind of give me your ideas, and then the next question is, are you always is it depend on a charity behind it to make it work?
Yeah, the nonprofit organization we're going to be working with soon is the Martin family. It's time for us to go back to work. And one of the things that when we were on a Zoom call with the founders of this hashtag of the Front Steps Project, they talked about, they're going to finish up their backlog just like we're finishing up our backlog. But it's time, once we're able to get out there and start photographing. I mean, I'm a strong proponent of photographers should charge for their work and don't give it away for free. So this is probably, it's feeling, and I can feel it coming. People are getting dressed up for this. We had one neighborhood where they all looked like they were going out to Sunday brunch dressed up. This has moved away from just being an interrupt in the middle of your day, come out in your sweats or whatever, your pajamas and stuff. It's become more of a portrait session, even though I'm only doing it for 2 minutes. So I think the evolution, it's reaching its end in my area, in our area. And so I feel like you need to move away from it. We're going to finish up our backlog and move away. But I think when they were talking about, the founders were talking about, they want to do some type of business initiative. And, we're all photographers, so we see everything through a lens. This is the thing that Ed and I were talking about, and we came up with LKN Out Front, and we're photographing business owners out in front of their business. We're going to personify the business. You can put out pictures on your Facebook of your food, of your products, of your location, whatever. But you know what? People buy from people they like. And so putting a face to this business, I think, is impactful. And
I'm doing this. Totally doing this business thing.
You're going to skip the front steps and go out front. Right?
And by the way, I love it. We're doing this for free. We aren't charging the business. There's no donation to charity required. We feel that as a small business, we can take what we learned from the project and go do this and help other small businesses.
And we'll create a PDF form and give them the digitals of that. But if they want Facebook posts, if they want to learn how to do this, if they want to incorporate it into their website, we might have a social media or marketing element that we add to it. I'm sorry, I keep not looking at the camera. I'm not really good at this stuff.
No, I'm the same way. You're down here, my camera's up here, so I'm going back and forth.
So we're thinking that might be a potential revenue stream because this guy that did the press release for us, he's good at this stuff, and actually I have a daughter moving back to the area that does social marketing for the restaurant industry, and so we might incorporate her. So this might be something we offer to these businesses. But the format for it, the LKN Out Front, that we think is just an activation of people and their businesses. And other photographers can jump on this one. It's very easy to replace that LKN with a CLT, which is Charlotte, or whatever
or whatever you want to call it. Just the idea of helping these businesses out. And there's a lot of social media groups around here. There's Lake Norman Small Business.
We're going to Zoom call with them later today.
And this isn't competing with that. This is complementing that. We're just going to create this, and then the businesses can push it out through their channels. We'll hashtag everything and push it out with LKN Out Front, and really just everybody tries to help each other.
Yeah. I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, I am having a phone call with the guy that does small business. It's like a little. It's run by the county, and I'm going to have a discussion with him this afternoon, and I'm going to bring this up. I mean, this would be great for the local businesses that need, a little boost. Like, hey, we're going to come and we can do it in association with the Cherokee County government, whatever it may be. But I think that, that's a fantastic idea. And what about your family? Go ahead.
I was going to say, what we want to have attached to these photos is telling people in this little blurb about the business how people are presenting themselves in this new normal, how they're existing, what are their hours, what are they doing that is social distancing aware, and how are they doing business, and how can you do business with these people in this environment. And so that's kind of the idea, because you're out in front of your business, and most of the businesses right now are taking place outside of their physical business, so that's
sure. No, this is fantastic.
We're with the mayor this afternoon, taking front steps pictures of the mayor of Mooresville. But it's really the mayor's wife that you've networked with.
Yeah, she's part of the networking group for downtown Mooresville. We're talking today to someone who's in charge of the Lake Norman Small Business Women's Group. We've got a couple things that we're reaching out to and just starting to network, which I have not networked in years. So this is kind of a new beast for me.
Yeah, no kidding. Just like all the little, pieces that you can come off of that networking. I'm just thinking that, again, I love doing headshots, and I think that it's super important you look at businesses all the time, and they're like, oh man, these photos are just terrible. They need some headshots. But I'm so, I don't have time
because somebody else was with them.
Yeah, it's awful. So I love the idea of going out there and reaching out to all these businesses and helping them out. And hopefully they're going to think of you, in the future for services like headshots and that sort of thing, because it's really hard to kind of get in there, to say, hey, you guys, you might need some help here, and this is a good way, and maybe diversify a little bit. Some youth sports photographers, school photographers might need summer work or winter work because we're very seasonal. This is something that could really kind of fill in those little gaps in business. It could be a great way to stay busy.
Fine.
Yep, absolutely. And Jay asked about other ways to use it. I don't think what we've come up with here is ever going to replace what we all used to do as photography businesses. With people coming to us, but the idea of being able to go out and do this in a non-charity and in truly a commercial way. I mean, think about You've brought this up, holidays. Think about Halloween. What if we offered to come through a neighborhood and take pictures of your kids dressed up for Halloween
in front of your house?
In front of your house.
Absolutely.
And then we can do it at Christmas time as well, or we can do it at 4th of July, or to be able to go out and do it. And some of the things that Photo Day has, like with advance pay. Now, do a $25 advance pay.
Yeah.
Which we obviously know you've done that, and then we will show up at your house and take those photos. But that advance pay is just applicable against whatever you want to buy online, whether it's
absolutely
or whatever.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I mentioned it earlier. The Domino's Pizza delivery method of photography. I think there's absolutely something here that we can all latch onto in our own forms of business and use. So I'm very excited about it. And
yeah, I'm fired up about this. I want to know who is going to do Father's Day. I want to know. I'm so curious who's going to be brave enough. I mean, you can basically take all the information that the Martins have given us today and then just insert Father's Day in there and have it as, that's you're going to take the $25. It's fully commercial. You're getting paid. And I think that, you might have some legs. You might really be able to take off with this thing.
Well, you would have gotten off the hook yesterday for Mother's Day when you didn't take that photo, Jay.
I'm telling you, that's why it's so personal to me. Is I truly that was one of the first things I asked Karina. I was like, we were watching little videos of when they were my 3 kids were babies, and we're tearing up, the whole thing. And I was like, well, let's do a photo out front because I did my neighbors and just out in the front of the street. And it was beautiful. And I was like, let's try to do that, and we didn't do it. So I mean, it's just an excuse for everybody to get dressed up and they're going to be here at this time and let's get it done. I think it's brilliant.
Get them showered.
And we've done it before where we'll set up at our neighborhood. It's called the homestead, the facility, and hey, we're going to be here between X time and Y time. Come on and show up.
We schedule them.
Yeah, we'll schedule them. Through Calendly or something like that. And you get a lot of people to take advantage of it, but the idea of complimenting it, don't replace that, but complimenting it with, hey, we can go door to door. House calls are fantastic. I mean, talk about personifying a business and being somebody you like to work with the communication that we do. We seem, very professional and literally up to the minute, and tying all of that together. I think there's absolutely something we've learned here that I hope we can take advantage of, and everybody watching can take advantage of.
Well, I mean, not to mention, if you notice the grouping on that map, you don't have to get everybody. You just got to get a couple on the street, and the word's going to spread. And just do good work. I mean, I think we kind of didn't really, maybe we went over a little bit, but Kathleen's taking fantastic images. You guys know that the whole Photo Day platform is designed around taking good images. Nobody even questioned, those images are professional. They're beautiful. She's using long lenses and it just looks nice. She's framing it correctly. I mean, everything's done right on the photographic side. And then Ed stepped in and figured all the other stuff out, all the logistics and how everything's going to work. And I just think it's just great teamwork. And I can maybe do something similar since I have Karina. I have my wife, Ed. She'll keep me organized. Just let me worry about the photos and that sort of thing. So I think a good teamwork, a 2-man team, 2-person team, it's just going to be a lot of success coming from you guys with this. I'm just thank you so much.
Thank you.
I mean, this is, again, the generosity, just sharing this with all the other photographies went into really detail with this, and it was just amazing. I learned a bunch. I have a whole couple pages of notes myself. So
well, I've got that big long document that I wrote up too, Jay, which be happy to share with anybody that's listening to this. Just email Ed at LKN Images or Kathleen at LKN Images, and there's a lot more text detail on what we've used in the systems and the links and all that stuff. So happy to help.
Okay. Now, do we miss any questions? Have we gone? Is there anybody
Lisa
else?
If we're going to come to Tampa to take her photos. Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
When Disneyland or Disney World opens.
Yes.
I don't think I noticed any others. Lisa, I know you're commenting in here. Do you see anything that we missed? Mark, I think we covered all the stuff you were asking.
Yeah. Let's see. Susan, I think, had a question down there. Still have 5,000 friends. Yeah. Susan, I've got 5,000 friends too. And as soon as somebody says something stupid, I kick them out so I can invite more important friends in. So that is a problem with the personal using your personal webpage on Facebook. But it took me years to build up to 5,000. So a lot of people don't have that quite a big of a following. So yes, you are limited with your friends. So once you get to that point, then you hopefully though, by the time you get to the 5,000 friends, you can start using Facebook as just straight up marketing, and we'll kind of go over how I'm using Facebook in my business to promote open studios to help, generate some income here during this pandemic. But I guess
get the emails.
Get the emails, and that's another lesson learned.
Away from you, Facebook does stupid stuff.
Yes, I need to. Yeah, you're right.
Contact, by the way, it automatically sends out a confirmation message when you register, so you have a valid email address for everybody that registers.
That's such a good point about the Facebook, because I do promote on Facebook, but so many people tell me, hey, I never saw it. So at least if you do Facebook in the email, then you're at least covering your bases there, where that everybody gets to see your open studios or any other promotions that you like want to go forward with in the future, especially this. I think this is going to be good. It's going to be really good.
Cool.
All right. I think that's all, guys. We got okay. Flip me. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it. I'm so glad that you operated that and not me. All right. So next,
logistics mode now, Jay. I'm good.
Yes. All right. What's new with Photo Day? That's going to be May 12th. That's going to be another live webinar. So that's just tomorrow. So make sure you tune in for that. We got a lot of new things going on with Photo Day, so I think you guys will enjoy that. And then let's see, another one on our resilience series, May 28th. I'm going to go through. I've done an open studio. Again, we opened up pretty early in Georgia here, so all of my leagues have been canceled. So it's been a big hit to us financially. So I'm doing what I can to generate some money, and I'm going to explain how I set up the open studio. I'm not as in detail as the Martins, but I have a little bit of a plan that's worked really well, and we've been successful. So I'll be able to share with you how I set everything up, how I'm promoting the images, and then what my sales numbers are to see if it's useful for you guys. But again, guys, thank you so much. This was fantastic. I'm really excited, and I'm gonna be calling you soon, probably later today. What's your media schedule though? I got to get on your appointment. Look, I mean,
you get an automatic interrupt whenever you call, buddy. Well,
okay, all right. Fantastic. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. And Ed, where can they find your email? At least I guess we'll just maybe put that up on the Facebook. Because I know people are going to have questions.
Ed at lknimages.com and Kathleen at lknimages.com. And I'll chat with Lisa and see if we can figure out a way to sort of have it appended to the webinar. Okay. It's recorded up in the academy, so hopefully we can get it on there.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Good luck.
All right. Bye-bye.